Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, time to slam. Sex, love, and misunderstanding. With Dr. Tiy-E, he the man. Relax, let him lead the way. He got a plan. It's the slam. Slam. Slam.
Peace and love. Welcome to another episode of S.L.A.M. I'm Dr. Tiy-E, licensed psychosexual therapist, and this is a place where we talk about sex, love, and the misunderstanding. Today, I have an outstanding, amazing guest. I've known this woman for a few years. This is her first time doing a podcast, so I'm very excited about taking away her virginity today.
I'm a virgin. I love virginity.
And she is as innocent as she looks, in quotes. But this young lady, she's a biopharmaceutical sales manager, has an MBA, lovely wife, great mother, just an entrepreneur in spirit. I mean, she does it all from real estate to interior design. She's a future author. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then she's a member of the wonderful sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Without further ado, y'all, please welcome dear friend of mine, Miss Caneshia Isaac.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the S.L.A.M. Welcome to the S.L.A.M. Hey, hey.
He gave me truth serum. So y'all already know how this is going to go.
Right, and believe me, she will tell it.
I'll tell it.
She told me to her husband a couple weeks ago, but we're not going to discuss that.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't say nothing.
Truth serum. We on Club Shay Shay and I'm Cat.
We're going to call it Club Slam Slam.
Club Slam Slam.
Club Slam. Hold on. Put that down. Hold on, because we're going to bring that in right.
Okay.
So we usually do two things.
Okay.
When people come to the One Love Room. This is the One Love Room.
One
right?
Love Room, okay.
The One Love Room. So first of all, we have a drink. Now this is called a what?
It's a margarita.
Margarita. So
it's just in a Cosmo glass.
Okay, a margarita, which is not a man drink.
No, it's not.
So she can have all that. So I'm going to have a shot while you have your margarita, and we're going to toast. What would you like to toast to?
Oh, life, prosperity, peace, and love.
Nice. And I'm going to toast to fuck them kids.
Oh, you sound like my husband. To the head. Okay, you can be honest too, huh?
About to get right into it. The second thing we do, this is called the gold plate.
Okay.
And then there's some rocks.
Okay.
These are all, this is the truth. It's going to tell you about yourself. So when you pick a rock, you got to reveal what that rock means to you.
Okay.
All right, so pick any rock you choose.
Peace.
Peace. Well, okay, good. So what does peace mean to you in your life and just how you receive it and how you give it out?
So I don't think I've always been at peace in my life. And, as I reached the age of 40, peace just became so much more important to me. Alleviating things from my life that don't bring me peace. And, taking time for the things that do. Like my family. I've been so high-powered, high-focused my entire life trying to reach a certain level of success that I don't think I ever took a moment to go. And I remember one time you asked me, well, you've accomplished this and you've accomplished this, what's next? When is it going to be enough? And I told you, I don't know. I think I'm finally at that point where I've reached peace and I'm happy, as is. So yeah,
Beautiful.
So peace is very important to me.
Okay, well that's for you. You're going to keep that with you because I want you, whenever you feel like you're going astray, go look at that rock and be like, peace from within. So now I'm going to pick one.
Oh, Lord. He
Yeah.
set me up.
Damn.
Love.
Woo!
I knew you were setting me up.
I picked that. A good guy.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. That's my logo.
Yes, that's
peace
your
and
logo.
love.
That's your
if anybody's
logo.
ever heard me call my phone, I start by saying peace and love.
Yes,
You reach-
emails, text messages, everything. Peace and love.
So talk to me about love. What does love mean to you?
Oh my goodness. Love is being vulnerable. Love is acceptance. Love is growth. Love is, it can be criticism in a positive way.
Okay.
And love is just knowing that you know, I'm here. Like you have me here for you, or you're there for me when I need you. And that's something too that I've always, that I've had to evolve into, because I don't think I was like a very good friend always. And I had a friend that told me, listen, I'm trying to be your friend. You terrible at this shit. You know, and she kind of explained to me like what her expectations were as a friend. And she's like, you know, I call and, you know, you take days to call back, and, you know, and so I had never had anybody like really confront me.
Check
and,
you.
Yeah, check me. And not another female.
Right,
like,
you.
you know, men be like, well, you don't, you know, call enough or whatever. But not a female. And so, and I didn't see a lot of love relationships between women growing up. And so I think that was, you know, kind of stifled me, for lack of a better term. But yeah, so now that's what love means to me.
Okay, you can give me my love rock back. You want to give me
I
my
can't
rock?
keep peace
No,
and
you,
love.
you
Come
love.
on now.
Damn it. Maybe when the patrol kick in a little later, I might give it away to you.
I'm taking all the rocks. I'm just going to get a little bag.
Yeah, go ahead, have another shot. You're going to get whatever I want. You spoke about, you just talked about love, and you talked about being vulnerable. So I'm going to give you 5 identifiers that I think that the average woman needs when it comes to a man. And you put those in order of importance to you in your relationship, in your marriage. You have the L, which is for love and loyalty. O is for obedience to God. V is for vulnerability. E is for empath or empathy. And E is for empathy, empath. And S is for sex. You know what I'm saying? So put that in order for me.
Okay, so I would say love. Vulnerability and empathy would probably be right there together. So if I had to rank one above the other, I'd probably say vulnerability. Because I think if you're vulnerable, then that allows you to have empathy and see yourself in my situation or whatever the case may be. And then I would say sex, because I do think sex can be taught if you're vulnerable. If you're vulnerable enough to say, hey, I don't like this, or I do. And your partner has enough empathy to accept what you're saying, then I think you can accomplish that. And so I think last would be obedience to God. And the reason I would say that is because I don't think most people are obedient to God. And I also think that most people think they are, but they rely on repentance. I can repent, so I'm going to do what I want to do.
Teach, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sister
Minister. Go ahead, Sister Minister.
And then I'll ask for forgiveness later, and He will forgive me, so I can continue to do what I want to do. So for me, as opposed to obedience to God, it would be more so, do we believe in the same things? Like, because two people can read the Bible and interpret it in two totally different ways. So if your God is telling you that I don't have a voice in this house, and, you know, if I get out of line, you can smack me. I don't need you to be obedient to Him because I smack back. So, you know what I mean? So it's just really kind of different cultures, different people. Even inside, you know, different religions, they view things differently. So that's why I would put that last.
Nice, I like that. Okay. What you just heard, she said she ain't no punk.
No.
So you put your hands on me, but it's gonna be a whole situation.
No, I don't want to start busting Glorilla on y'all, but you know.
I mean, but you an AK, you a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority corporate. Y'all dainty. Y'all get y'all nails polished.
I ain't had polish on my nails.
And I want to thank you for wearing your blue and white.
Yes. Hey, listen, we AKAs, we know how to show up.
How to show up. I cannot argue with that one.
Yes, we do.
So now you grew up in Alabama.
I did.
So you're a country girl.
I'm a country girl.
And you moved to this big old city called Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
What was that like growing up in Alabama and transitioning to Atlanta, Georgia?
It was a completely different experience.
Okay.
Do you know, I didn't know about Juneteenth till I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
My trainer actually taught me about Juneteenth.
Your physical, at the gym.
Yeah, at the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was like, "Where are you from?" Like, is it Montana or something? Like, you've never heard of Juneteenth?
Okay.
And I was like, no, I hadn't.
Wow.
So I came from Alabama, and, you know, just being quite honest, we moved to Auburn. I always wanted to move to Atlanta.
Okay.
My husband said he could never live here because of the traffic. So it took me about 10 years to finally get him here. So I got him to Auburn first.
Wow.
And then we kind of made the transition to Atlanta since we were halfway there.
Right.
And we would always come here visiting and shopping and things, and visiting my family because my family moved here, when I left and went to college.
Okay.
And so, we did that, but he never wanted to move here. And I always did because I would come here and visit with my family.
Right.
And so, and then we made the transition because my daughter at the time, we were living in Auburn, and my daughter had one or two black friends. I kind of felt like we were token. We got into an argument at Target because she wanted a white dog because she thought they were prettier.
Interesting. Okay.
I asked her why.
Okay.
And she couldn't really, explain it. And then this lady intercepted and told me I should just get her whatever doll she wants.
Oh,
and I told her
wow.
it'd probably be in her best interest.
Did you
to,
give it?
You might want to
right.
leave.
You get the hell on. Right. Okay.
So she did, and and it was just important for me to have her see black people other than us being successful and doing well. And not to say that you don't see that in Alabama.
I got you.
I just don't think it's as prominent as it is here in Atlanta. And so, I told my husband what happened. I was like, hey, we got to move. And we initially came up here looking for rental property. And then it became, well, damn, these houses a little better than our house. And, and so then it became, that.
Okay.
So.
And I know you're telling the truth about the traffic thing, you're right, because I have family members that are from Alabama. My mom is from Alabama. And so I always ask my cousin, like, why y'all never come to Atlanta? Oh, man, it's too much traffic. I'm like, but I'm from Chicago.
Yes.
So this is nothing for me.
You're from big city.
Right. I'm big city. So this is a small city.
Alabama,
yes.
You can get everywhere in 15, 20 minutes. Unless somebody died on the interstate. Other than that, you're going to be able to get anywhere 15, 20 minutes. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's different.
Okay, so University of Alabama. Now that's Roll Tide. That's Roll Tide.
Yeah, but then I went to Auburn for my master's.
Auburn,
University of Montgomery. So
you went to aren't they against each other? Are they adversaries?
That's funny. So I say UAB gave me a degree, and AUM helped me get a job or a career. So that's the way I look at it.
Wow. So why Alpha Kappa Alpha?
So the majority of my family are AKAs. I have an aunt that is a Delta. And then I have an aunt that's a Sigma Gamma Rho. And I think that just, like I said, the majority of my aunts were AKAs, and just seeing them like come home from Boulay and, being excited and, always decked out. I was just very intrigued, and I just wanted to be a part. And then once I went to UAB, I knew a few, and then it just was a natural transition.
Natural progression. So what's funny, because you fit the stereotype.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The old school stereotype.
I've heard that.
This new school thing is
it's
it's something totally different. I say, wow, that's what we doing.
My husband says all the time, like, y'all switched.
Right. Because I'm like, okay, things have changed. We'll just leave it right. We'll leave it there. Things have changed. Things have changed. So you're big on community service.
I am big on community service.
Talk to me about it.
I think that it's really important for us to give back. I look at, especially, like, I really wish I had gone to an HBCU.
Okay.
And that's where I intend for my daughter to go, because I feel like I missed out on that experience. And I think one of the things I noticed, though, like when you're going to HBCUs is like, the dorms and the campuses don't look like the university I went to, right?
It's hood.
It is very
hood
different.
Hood in the HBCUs.
Yes,
it's
it is very different.
Right.
And so,
like the projects versus Beverly Hills.
Correct.
Yes.
And I'm still Beverly Hills. So at the end of the day, I think like we have to, things that are important to us.
Okay.
We have to put back into that. You know what I mean? We have to, because otherwise we don't really get very far, and nobody wants to come. Like, you know.
That part. Yes.
And so I think it's important, like the give back is really important, not just in education, but to me it's easy to see when you're looking at how much, people at like Duke and Princeton, Howard and Harvard give back versus Spelman or Tuskegee,
Yes.
So it's just a difference. It makes no sense to me why Tuskegee has a major university and hasn't been like you know.
That part.
Yeah.
Well, let me go on record and say, I'm glad I did not go to HBCU.
Why?
Because I was still being undergrad. I would have been partying my ass off. Oh, God. And the women, oh, dear God. I would have so many kids. Oh, God. I'm like, you get a kid, you get a kid, you get a kid.
You would have been populating that.
I would have been populating. Oh, dear God. Oh, God. So when I started teaching at Clark, I was like, oh, dear God. All this sugar, all this dessert walking around here. And I was in my 20s. So I had to compose myself. And I said, brother, you're a professor. And then at the time I'm young, I got long dreads. I'm riding the motorcycle to class. So I come to class, the students like,
Hey,
what we learned today? Yeah, I was still being undergrad. Oh, it would have went down. Oh, dear God. So, for example, my son goes to Alabama State, and he's 24. He's still in school. So I can't even be mad at him because I know me. I would still be undergrad.
My husband pledged Kappa, at AUM, and he was there for a while. When I was there working on my graduate degree, that's how we kind of linked back up. He was still there, being a Kappa. I'm like, are we going to just be a Kappa or are we going to graduate? Like, how's that going to work? So, yeah.
Oh, God.
It probably would be a little harder for a guy.
That part. Yeah. And I'm just being real with myself. That's the reason why I don't go to people's churches. I can't go to a church because there's too many vulnerable women walking around. You do not want me coming here and work in your church.
Being a therapist, that would not be.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to stay in my lane. Stay in my lane. That's why.
That is hilarious. At least you have self-awareness.
Exactly. And I'm very in tune with myself, and I know
true.
I know my weaknesses and my strengths are, and I respect them accordingly.
That's half the battle right there.
You put me in a room full of dessert, I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
So let's get to your professional career.
Okay.
You are a biopharmaceutical sales leader.
Uh-huh.
Explain to the people what that means.
So biopharm is usually like a biologic. So it's something that it's not like a drug that you just pick up at the pharmacist. It's usually going to be something that's administered in office. So I train physicians and their staff on how to do. Right now, I have a treatment for patients with diabetic peripheral neuropathy. So I train physicians on how to do the treatment within the office.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So I was actually pre-med when I was at UAB. And a counselor actually talked me out of going into medical school because of the cost. So, and it's funny because I have a couple of friends who are doctors, and their situations were different, and they had the same counselor and were told the same thing a year or two earlier than me, but they pushed forward. So that's one of my biggest regrets is I should have. But I didn't know it. I didn't know anything.
Yes, trust me, I get it.
Those things.
So you're like a glorified drug dealer.
I am a glorified, the legal kind. Yeah. I am.
Got them drugs for you in.
Yeah.
A bit beautiful. And how much stress and how much joy does that profession bring to you?
So it is stressful only because, you're dealing with, number one, someone else's livelihood, and then, someone's practice, which is how, they feed their families at the end of the day. And so, and my drug is not inexpensive. And so I take that personally. And so I probably go a lot harder than most. Okay. Because I do believe that your reputation will precede you. That part. And it will enter rooms that you may not ever, and so when I was in real estate in Alabama, I learned real quickly that because I was real honest and upfront with people, they came back and they would always refer people to me, and I try to keep that same instinct as I move in pharma, and particularly what I do now. My grandmother was a diabetic. My grandmother lost feeling in her foot, developed a blister, it popped, would never heal. My grandmother was told she would have to cut her foot off, and she said, no, I'm leaving with everything I came with. And I lost my grandmother. And so for me, I guess this one probably, out of everything that I have sold, I think this one probably hits home the most, because if something like what I have now had been around for my grandmother, she may still be here. And so, well, maybe not now. Yes. But you know what I mean? I feel like I would have had more years with her. Okay. And so that's important.
So that's your career, but now let's get into what you're passionate about. This is what I do
Yes.
to pay the bills. What you're passionate about. You're an real estate agent,
Yes.
interior designer.
Yeah.
You're about to be an author. You're an event planner.
Yes.
So you make things happen. So you have a creative mind.
I do.
But hold on. But I want to go back to something you said earlier regarding. Oh gosh, I forgot. Because I was just like, because you're a Libra.
I am.
About not being a good friend.
Yes.
So Libra women have a tendency to be a little self-indulged and a little kind of like blonde, like it's all about my world. So how have you mastered of the art of saying, you know what, now let me begin to see you more as opposed to just walking with my blinders on?
So I think it was a two-way street, right? I think for me, it was someone being vulnerable and honest enough to say to me, bitch, you are not a good friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think you could be, though. I
Right. You got potential.
Yeah.
You got friend potential.
You suck. Shout out to Amanda. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And so
okay.
I think like taking that on, then I had to take a real look at myself. And I had to be like, why am I not a good friend? You know what I mean? And I think I realized like how important it is to show up for people. And I didn't have, I feel like, a lot of people outside of family that showed up for me. And so I didn't know how to be what I had never seen. And so, you know, for me, it's twofold because I had to take a hard look at myself, but then someone had to be brave enough to say, bitch, no, this is not how this works. You know? And so I'm thankful for her for that, because you know, she's one of my best friends and she's a Delta.
Okay.
You know, the yin and yang. So I just think that I think it was kudos to me too for actually accepting.
Yes, the constructive criticism.
Correct. Correct, because a lot of people are like, well, you a bad friend too. Well, you know, you didn't do this and you did that. And where do you get? You know what I mean? And so, so I think that's kind of how.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to what you're passionate about. Interior design.
Yes.
Event planner.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So it's funny because my father was a contractor. My father did everything. So my first house that my husband and I purchased, my dad and I completely like renovated the house. My dad like found.
Oh, hold on. Now, when she said her father and I, when I tell you this woman can tear down drywall, she can put up chandeliers. Yeah, don't let the smooth look fool you. She's about that life.
Yes, that's why I can't get my nails done. I might look like a girly girl.
Right. You need an oil change?
No.
Holler at your girl. But go ahead.
I have a miter saw. But so my dad and I would always do projects together, and my father was very creative. So my dad, I remember him having like a lot of like leftover rocks from a project that he had done previous to mine, and he took it and made like a stone motif in my bathroom, which everybody was like, that's the reason.
What the hell is a
house.
motif?
It's basically just like you would say an accent wall, but it was more like an accent part of the wall.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
motif. Well, go ahead.
So he taught me how to, use a miter saw, and we cut crown molding, and we added all that kind of stuff. But at the time, I was interested in it, but it wasn't like a passion. So I need to go back to college. When I was in college, I had an apartment, and one of my sorority sisters told me, you live like a dude. She said, you don't have a picture, nothing on the walls. Like, she's like, you live like a dude. And I said, well, if I wanted to decorate, I could. And she was like, well, do it then, because this is terrible. And so I did.
Okay.
And I remember the next time she came back over there, she was like, whoa. And then that actually, I enjoyed that so much that I started kind of doing that. So fast forward to me getting married, and us buying our first house, and my dad coming to help me. So it was just kind of like another layer to the design.
Okay.
But at that point, I'm still contracting and hiring people to do stuff.
Wow.
Well, then I lost my dad right before 2020. And by this time, we've moved to Georgia.
Did it have anything to do with COVID or?
No.
Okay,
no.
okay, go ahead.
So it was unexpected, though. So we had moved to Georgia at this point, and we had plastic shutters on the house, and I hated them. And one of them fell off.
Don't tell me you went outside.
Yeah, I said, you know what? I said, I've always wanted wood shutters anyway.
Right.
So I think I'm going to build them. And Juwan was like, huh? And now he's like, you're going to do it? And I was like, yeah. So I built all the shutters, and I couldn't put them on the house because I am afraid of heights. So
Okay.
I had to
hold on. Let me get this straight. You're Caneshia the builder, but you're scared of heights.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights. Yeah. So that's when you.
A bit of an oxymoron, but go ahead.
That's when you have somebody who isn't.
That part. That part. So is the husband scared of heights?
Yes, he was like, I ain't doing it. I'm somebody to do it. And so we did.
Right. Okay. That part.
And the guy, he couldn't believe that I'd done it.
Mm.
And so during this time, like I'm doing parties and stuff for my children.
Okay.
And I'm like over the top, parties. And then people started asking me to kind of do parties and stuff.
This is
for
when the
them.
event planner came in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I'm replacing shutters, and then I'm like, okay, I can build stuff. So then I started building things for parties. And then more and more people started wanting me to do parties. And then people start going, well, your house is decorated really nice. Will you do this? And so it just kind of evolved. And then I learned to sew. When I was back in Auburn, I learned to sew, to do interior design, drapes, things like that.
Wow.
But when they teach you to sew, they teach you to sew clothes because of all the twists and turns and things like that. So for a while, I was selling clothes.
Wow. So definitely an entrepreneur.
I hated sewing for people.
Renaissance woman. Okay.
I hated sewing for people.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about it is I didn't know, because my family at the time didn't feel like it was an honorable enough career, but my grandmother was a seamstress.
Interesting.
So I would always ask her to teach me to sew and stuff, and she'd always be like, and she never did. And then my aunt could sew really good, and she hated it, so she wouldn't teach me, so I paid for classes. But I said all that to say, wow. I think I got it honest from my grandmother with that, and then my father with the construction. So yeah.
Oh wow.
So Juwan, we purchased a condo in downtown, in Midtown, and we completely. I completely renovated
it. Wow.
So I did everything myself. Built cabinets, built a pantry, did all of that. And so it was the best time I had in my life.
T2, my son, says he wants what's them little houses that you put in the backyard?
The little playground.
Right.
Playhouses.
Yeah. So I'm gonna need you to build one
for. Okay.
So I get the wood, get the nails and a hammer, and you good.
Let's do it.
Wow.
Let's do it. I got all those things. I
gotta pay you for it?
Yeah. We don't work for free now.
Sharing is caring. You share your skills, I share mine. We meet in the middle. Anyway, so now let's get to the third segment of this, which is marriage, relationships, and sex.
Yes.
Marriage, relationships. Who taught you about relationships? Who taught you? Where was your go-to guide, if any?
I don't think I had one. So I think for me, I saw The Cosby Show, and I thought that's what a happy marriage and a happy life looked like. My parents were both very young when, I was born.
Okay.
And so I'd say my grandmother was more like my mother. My mother and father were more like my friends, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
I maybe like big sister, big brother. I don't
know.
But the one thing I did always admire about my parents is that they were very honest about their flaws and things that they had done, what they perceived to be incorrectly.
Okay, and they would tell you about it.
They would tell me, don't do this, I did that.
Okay,
you know
got
what I mean?
it. Okay.
Or I made this mistake. And, almost to a fault, because I think in a way it kind of scared me from things like entrepreneurship, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and, he had other vices that didn't help him be successful, and it scared me. So I think that was the reason why I had to always have a full-time job, and then supplement that income with whatever I loved.
Okay.
Now that I'm in a different place in my life, I'm seeing that maybe that wasn't the best way I could have handled that, but there was fear there, and I didn't know that, until therapy. And so there was that, and then there were the relationships that we were a big family. So my mother had there are 9 of them.
Okay.
And so I think my aunts were very strong women too, and so watching them in their relationships, with their friends and with their husbands and spouses and things like that, I think all of those things kind of shaped my outlook on relationships, good or bad, mostly bad.
Okay, so you just like me, Cosby's reminded wow, I want that.
I want that.
And just how unrealistic we found out that is. Find out that as we get into marriage, but just having that. And do you feel like you have a hold on it now? Like this is what a marriage should look like, or are you still learning or gravitating towards?
So I think the way marriage looks changes as you grow and evolve. And I think the beautiful thing is when you grow and evolve together. Right, but I don't think that I don't think we can say the perfect marriage looks like this.
That part.
Because we don't know what happens behind closed doors. I had a conversation with someone recently, and they were telling me how they didn't like someone else because of the way they treat their spouse. And I'm like, you don't know what happens when they close their doors and they go into their, you know what they tell you.
That part.
You don't know this person as a husband. You know this person as whomever he is to you, but you don't know him as a husband, right? And so I think that's important for us to kind of realize when we're looking at other people in their relationships and kind of judging or evaluating them, we don't know, you know? So I try to keep an open mind when it comes to that.
And you get caught up, and as we've talked about before, your life versus your being a wife. And sometimes with women, they get so caught up being a wife, they lose focus of their life. Thus, they're not happy.
Correct.
And so, talk to more especially the women about how to sustain your purpose in your life and still be a wife, but you got to take care of you. Talk to me about that.
So I think that takes evolution too, and depending on kind of like where you come from, your views on that may be different. So for me, I mean, I always looked at it like the man had to be the provider because that's what I was told, and if he wasn't in my family, was sorry or lazy or whatever,
right?
You know, and the wife was kind of second in command, you know, to the husband. Mostly the wife had control over the children, and then the husband had control over her. Yes. And then the opposite side of that was husbands who had no control, and wife said jump how high and when and where to go. That part. And both of those were they didn't fit me. Yes. Right. Right. But I tried, right? I felt like, you know, when you become a wife, you have to dress a certain way. Like, oh my God, I can't be sexy and provocative anymore. I've got to, you know, kind of button it up. And then I realized, oh God, this isn't fun for me at all. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't a good reflection of who I am. And so, you know, then you start trying to find your voice and find your piece. And then it's a big transition for him. Right? Because now all these things that you've kind of got used to, I'm like, hey, you know what? And I think that's why men always say, as soon as you say I do, they like, some things got to change. I don't remember what comedian that was, but he's like, the minute you say I do, women like, now some things got to change. Right, right. You know, and I think it's more so like women just realize that you don't have to fit this perfect mold of being a wife. I'm Caneshia first. That part. Because when you get married, and especially like my husband and I, we had a baby like we got pregnant 6 months after we got married. So our daughter came pretty fast and furious. She was pretty quickly, right? So we didn't even really get a chance to just fully enjoy each other and understand each other besides our brief dating, you know, period. And so I think I became Autumn's mom. Okay. So I was Juwan's wife and then Autumn's mom. Wow. And then what happens to Caneshia, right? And it took me a minute to realize, well, damn, I liked Caneshia. I want her back, you know? And so that was an evolution for everybody in the household because, you know. I'm back, bitches. I'm back, bitch. Yeah. And what's interesting, going back to the women, the average woman, throughout life, the whole dream is to get married, right? Not the husband, but to get married. So now the anticipation is, when I can't wait to get married. Not the day, meaning the marriage, the ceremony, not the actual being in the marriage. Correct. So the woman gets to the day. Let's say today is, you know, we're in May, and she gets married May 15th, right? Her mindset is, oh, I can't wait to May 15th, but don't think about May 16th. Correct. And that's when, like you said, like, well, okay, well, things got to change. Well, because it was all about the marriage and the ceremony now, and men thinking, oh, when I get married, I'm having sex every day for the rest of my life. So now we come together, so it's like, oh, and the woman's like, well, dude, can you scoot over? And and I think too, it's like we kind of set up like from the beginning, because my husband and I were talking about this recently, and if you think about it, when girls read stories growing up, they're always princesses
Yes,
saved
absolutely.
by,
Yes.
you know, the prince
Yes.
who wants to sweep them off their feet and take them to this lap of luxury and
Yes.
takes care of them, and then they don't do nothing.
Yes.
But a boy, they grow up want to be superheroes. You ever seen a superhero with a wife? Never.
That's
And
facts.
everything a superhero does is for himself, really.
Well, he's saving the people.
He's saving people for himself. Okay? The big ass Batman sign,
Right.
you know,
Right.
he's a hero.
It's about him. Yeah,
it's
I
part
got
of
you.
the ego,
Yeah, I
right?
got you. Okay.
So as boys, it's like I'm gonna grow up to a man. I'm gonna save the world. I'm
Right.
gonna save her,
Right.
or I'm gonna save this person. But then I fly off and do whatever
Right.
I want to do. You never see him go home to a woman.
Well, Pimp
or
Magic Done
children.
won had a wife.
Pimp, that's where you lost me. That's where you lost me. That's a different type of arrangement. I don't know if we really want to consider that a marriage.
Not
but
superhero. Not superhero. Okay, go ahead.
It's different. But you know, so I think we grow up on totally different outlooks and with different expectations. And so, you know, this man thinks, oh my God, I'm gonna come in and save you, helpless woman, you need me. And the woman's like, you know, and not realizing like, oh my gosh, like, what about me? What about what I want when I'm trapped in this castle? You know?
That part.
Because if you are in an unhappy marriage, that
Yes.
is like the biggest prison you could ever be in.
I want to go back to something, and we've talked about this before, because it has something to do with your book, your future book, and we're not going to disclose the name of it. But it's going to be good. But being a beautiful woman, being light-skinned.
See, I consider myself brown.
You're not.
Cinnamon.
First of all, I'm brown.
I think I'm brown. I'm
Whatever.
cinnamon.
Well, anyway, so being a beautiful woman, we just say being a beautiful woman.
Caramel.
And being a caramel woman, and the adversity, first of all, the benefits. Then the adversities is you've had to deal with people just either loving you or just hating you, and the hating part for no reason, just because you're a beautiful woman. And people don't understand. People who are on the other side, we're gonna say the ugly side.
Yeah.
We're gonna say the other side. They think your world is so clean and pure, and you haven't had any obstacles because you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Talk to me about that.
I mean, I do think that's a real thing. You know, it's crazy because I always feel the need to like prove myself, and I think I've gotten out of that lately. Like I said, turning 40 was big for me because it was like in your 40s, you really don't give a fuck as much as you used to. But I do think like I always felt like I had to prove myself, and I felt like people would challenge me, like expect me not to know things. You know what I mean? Like, and talk to my husband about stuff that, like, for example, when I built the shutters for the house, the guy was like, you know, asking who did it, and my husband was like, my wife did it. He never said anything to me, but all the questions were directed to my husband. Well, hell, he don't know. He ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But things like that. And then I like when I go to Home Depot, and guys are like, well, what are you trying to build, Miss Lady? You know how to do that? You need some help with that? Like, it's frustrating because, you know.
But why is it? Let me tell you.
It's the way you ask.
Right. So I'll give you an example. And ironically, she's an AKA. Young lady I dated years ago, she was an Olympic athlete. And we're in Chicago, went to visit, went home. And so we're in the weight room, we're lifting. And so this guy is doing leg presses over 500 pounds. So she comes like, hey, do you mind if I tap in? And he was like, yeah, but I'm not changing the weight. So she got offended. Like, man, I didn't ask you to change weight, blah, 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 blah. And I had to explain to her how many women are coming in and say, hey, can I get on this 500-pound leg press? It's just not the norm. So going back to the shutters, how many women do you know personally is out here building shutters?
Well, I think that's the thing, though. Okay. Like, is that my fault that you haven't known? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't say that to another dude.
Yeah, but if the dude, give you an example. Dude walks in the hair salon like, I do press and curls. I'm like, really? You know, we're going to look at that dude say like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Again, because
Not necessarily. I had a lot of guys do my hair, and they did a great job.
You get my damn point.
But I think I do think like we can't paint everybody with the same brush.
I agree, but I'm just saying, but if the majority is here, most people look at the majority and say this is what it is. For example, people say, well, Atlanta has a high gay population. And that's, there are gay men here, gay women here, but they assume everybody falls into that category.
I don't don't think you do unless someone puts off something that makes you think,
Okay.
oh, okay. So if you didn't give me the chance to put off an energy that would make you
Right,
think
right.
I don't know how to cut this damn wood, then keep your mouth closed. Like, you can ask me, can you help me carry it?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
ooh, I can't even, and then the guy said to me, I can't even do that.
But do you realize, again, you're a princess. People physically see you. It's like driving, because first of all, you drive a what's the damn car?
A Tesla.
A Tesla, a little prissy car. So it's like saying I'm about to load up. I'm about to run this Tesla into a wall. Like that Tesla can't run into a wall. You see what I'm like? Again.
Actually, it can. You can pile quite a few cars on top of
Oh
it.
God.
But anyway.
You get my point. If it come across
I
prissy
understand
and,
what you're saying.
Right.
I just think, and for me, I think, it may be the result of the whole, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
a lot of my experiences before maybe made me not be as kind to the gentleman as I could
Okay.
be.
And like you said,
we have to understand those things affect us, right?
Yes.
You have to know what your triggers are.
Facts.
But I also think it would go a long way to say, if you're trying to holler at me and you see I'm in Home Depot, don't act like I'm an idiot and you got to help me.
So like you said, it's the delivery.
It's the delivery.
I
If
respect
you
that.
say, hey, what are you doing in here? Like, something like that
Right,
versus, I can't even do that. Like, okay, sucks for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just condescending.
Okay.
And I don't like when people are condescending towards
But
me.
but on behalf of the people.
Are these people with penises?
And some vaginas. People don't mean no harm because again, having the life that I've lived, people when they come up and say certain stuff like that, you look much better in person than you do on TV. That's not a compliment.
It's not.
But again, I understand people in their ignorance. So again, you have to respect the fact that when you are in an element that people aren't accustomed to seeing you in, they don't know what to say. They don't know. The average guy is intimidated.
I'm here to help them evolve.
What are you about, 5'10"?
No, I'm not just with heels on. I'm only 5'7", really 5'6".
Well, you're above. The average height for a woman is 5'3".
Well, no, I'm
5'4".
not that. That's my mama, though.
Right. So you for the average guy, you a skyscraper. So
Yeah,
your heels on, you damn near 6 feet tall.
I get that, but
Okay.
like I said, I'm here to help people evolve. Because I do think, like I learned from my friend, if you don't speak up, you can't expect there to be a change in society if you're not really willing to be that change. So
Yes.
what about me made you think that I cannot chop wood?
I respect
Or
that.
maybe you should have asked me that. Like the nicer thing to do, be like, oh, you know how to do that? Oh, wow.
Right. So you said you about to learn that. I'm about to teach you how
Yes.
to talk to a
So
woman.
I do
at Home
think like
Depot.
it's important. Like,
Okay.
And it is a way to do it that's not rude.
Okay. Women that want to be married, what advice would you give them?
The same advice I give to my daughter, and I tell her all the time, and it's funny because she tells me all the time, like how all of her friends, they can't wait to get married and have babies, and she's like, I want to get the bag. Like, I want to see the world, and I want to get the bag. And and
That's
so
not bad.
and I'm so proud. I couldn't be more proud.
Tell our people who don't understand ghetto colloquialisms, what's the bag?
I want to have a career and make money.
Okay,
Like,
go ahead.
I want to be able
All right, go
to
ahead.
afford myself.
Go ahead.
And it's going to be a lot for her because
Yeah.
she doesn't really even understand.
She is your daughter.
And she don't really understand.
She only got this. She only got a chance to see the bougie part of mama, not the
Correct.
struggle that it took to get to this place.
Yeah, we were talking about dorm rooms earlier, and I was like, you're going to stay at home, and she was like, no, I'm gonna stay in the dorm room. I said, okay, we'll see how long that lasts. Okay.
Well,
But
what's the advice?
So the advice would be, first of all, take time to fall in love with yourself, right? Travel, meet new people, figure out what you like, what makes you happy before you have to start compromising with another person. Because that's what marriage is. Marriage is a lot of compromise. And when you're by yourself, you don't have to consider the thoughts or, preferences of someone else.
Right,
it's
right.
just you.
Right.
And you should know what those are before you, take on this journey of being a wife and a mother. Because those are two roles that I really don't think that you're equipped to feel until you've gotten to know yourself.
Yeah, that part.
Because I look at like guys I dated in high school versus my husband.
Okay.
Totally different. Like, and if I had ended up marrying, no shade, but I don't think I'd be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because it's an evolution.
Okay.
17-year-old Caneshia, even 23-year-old Caneshia is different than 24-year-old Caneshia
Yes.
that got married. So
So I want to go on your husband for me, and then we'll get back to your daughter. So Shout out to brother Jawan Isaac, cool brother, my Libra brother. And a Kappa and an AKA, who stays in the mirror longer?
Him. You know him. You know him. He would say, I take longer to get ready, but that was not the question.
Right.
And it's funny because my son is just like him to the point where every time he comes to our room, we have a big mirror like up against the wall, and my son talks to himself in that mirror, and Juwan's like, don't come in my room and get in the mirror. I'm like, he your child.
Right, he your child. So let's go back to your child, which is your daughter, because the baby, she's experiencing what you've experienced most of your life, being the pretty girl. How is that seeing yourself through her? Like,
it's hard, right?
Okay.
Because like, you know, she's lost a lot of friendships. She had one friend who she thought was like her best friend, and then she wasn't invited to something, and she found out it was because a guy was going to be there that her friend liked, and she thought the guy might like her, so she was heartbroken. And, you know, she was like, I would have never done that, but she never even, you know, invited her. And my daughter found out later. And so, you know, she was bullied. So it's a lot of things that I feel like she has been targeted because of gifts that I gave her. Be mad at me. You know?
Well, little Caneshia, I feel your pain, because I got brothers who are, quote unquote, my friends or associates. I don't get invited to parties. I don't get invited to events. I learn about things after it happened.
Correct.
And then sister told me, she says, don't nobody want to see your fine ass come in there, because you go. And I don't understand the whole mindset of what's for you is for you. I can't take nothing from you that's intended for you.
And I like to be around beautiful people.
Man, that
like,
part.
I think, okay, that elevates everybody.
Man,
the
everybody.
whole team over here fine.
Right, but do you.
You correct.
Do,
but
you know,
a lot of women like don't, especially women, I think they tend to be like more catty. And
but you don't say men too.
Well, I can't speak for the male experience.
Bitch ass dudes out here. That, oh God, y'all, this one brother told me, we went out to one of the club together years ago, and every time we would go out, he would just disappear. He, out of his mouth, he said, hey man, I'm trying to be standing next to you. You know,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah. I'm like, seriously?
Wow.
Why the hell are you coming out?
You correct.
So same, catting the bitches? Yeah.
Bitchy men?
Bitchy men, yeah. But go ahead.
I can see it.
Go ahead, that part.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, it's been tough watching it and
Okay.
like me having to like explain things to her. But I do think like she's found like an authentic crew of friends like now, and they get each other, and they're quirky.
Beautiful.
And, you know, and they're all beautiful, and it's just, you know.
And people don't understand, being beautiful, being fine, it takes work. Like,
so listen, one of my friends
Go
who
ahead.
recently texted me, and because I used to, at the time I was getting up at 5 and I was going to the gym and I had a trainer and I was working out. Quarantine kind of like slowed that down for me, but I still try to be active. But she said to me, she texted me and she said, hey, hats off to you. She said, I always saw how you showed up, like, and you always looked well put together. I did not know what went on behind the scenes. And she was like, I see it now. It's tough.
Pound that.
Yeah,
Pound
it
that.
is. You know, and I had a coworker and friend who once told me, because she always looked great. And at the time she was 40, and I think I was early 30s or mid 30s or something like that. And I said, what is what's your secret? And she said, when I don't want to get up in the morning, I whisper to myself, fat girls are sleeping.
Wow,
And she said, so
beautiful.
I get up. And so that was always kind of like in the back.
I can't wait to use that on one of the
Fat
sales
girls are
things.
sleeping.
Like, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
so I always remembered that. And it's like, hey, if you want to live like nobody else, you got to do things that other people aren't willing to do.
And let me
And
throw,
it's hard.
It's hard. Let me throw this out here. My sister, my eldest sister, I was trying to help her get on the health track, and she was like, it's easy for you because you love to work out. I said, where the fuck you get that from? I've never met anyone personally that loves to work out. I understand the results I get,
Correct.
and I
the
garner that. I
results.
want my
Thank you.
clothes, and because I
Correct.
can't afford to be,
Correct.
with
part.
wardrobe,
Yeah.
every other
And
month.
I like my clothes. I don't want a new wardrobe. Like,
right.
you know?
Yeah, that part. But people don't understand the work is not that we get excited about it. But if you don't like the way I look, because you go do something about the way you look. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
hey,
Don't
get
hate on me, though.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You spend
'cause
all
it
that.
ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
You're right.
For example, diet, fitness, and just going finding the
I tried
right
to be
clothes.
vegan we were vegan for like 3 days. And we was hungry. We couldn't eat shit. So it was like, anybody got some mushrooms? I mean, I really like, I said, gonna get fatter because the only thing I know I can eat that's vegan is Oreos.
Right.
Like,
oh God.
you know, so
yeah, Oreos, nutter butter.
Man, listen,
you know what I'm saying?
it was
Gingerbread.
hard. Like,
It's definitely hard because people don't know. As I explained to you and your husband, I say, come over to the house one day. I'm gonna walk y'all through it because you don't actually see. Because I had to go through I went through the trials and tribulations. Like Jay-Z said in one of his songs, I sold drugs so you don't have to.
Correct.
I've been vegan for over 28 years, so I've gone through the struggles, but I know how to teach a person to go into a Publix or a Kroger or Walmart and shop. And be like, oh, this is what I get. Oh, I didn't know this existed. And find out, why is 10 vegan restaurants around me? But if you're not looking for it, you don't know.
We live, bro.
You're right.
But you know, it was funny because when we told you we was vegan now, remember that? You said, hey, go slow.
Yes, go slow. Yes,
You said,
ma'am.
don't try to jump into it all fast, like go slow.
Right.
And I don't think we understood it until we
No.
literally tried to find food and we was like, shit.
And understand this, is not slow and the Isaacs are not synonymous. They do everything fast.
Yes.
Everything is in a Corvette and it's going shroom.
Yeah, we trying to get somewhere. We getting older every day, so.
Miss Caneshia at age, what advice would you give Miss Caneshia at age 16?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would tell my 16-year-old self, you know, instead of, because when I grew up, I remember my grandmama telling me if I didn't learn how to cook, I'd never get a husband. So I think that all of the focus for like women in my age group were like marriage.
Okay.
And I wanted a career and I wanted other things, but I was afraid, you know, and I thought, oh my goodness, like love is got to be like the number one because women age out. Like if I don't get married by this certain time, then I'm going to be like they're going to think, okay, well, she older and my pool is going to be smaller and I might not be able to have kids.
Right.
So those were things that I was concerned about. So I would tell my younger self, my 16-year-old self, hey, just relax. Figure out. Same thing I tell my daughter, relax.
Yes.
Figure out who you are, what you like, what you love, and don't try to fit into someone else's idea of you. I think I did that a lot. You know, my mother, my aunts, they wanted me to be like prissy, and my dad was real. Like, and
yeah, she's definitely real.
I'm prissy in a way.
Right.
But I'm gonna give it to you straight.
You 80% real. I give you that.
Yeah, and so I give you the prissy real version, I guess. And then sometimes it's just straight no chaser. So it really just kind of like depends on what you give me. But I think that I tried so hard to be that person. Like my aunt had me in classes. I'm walking around with books on my head, like prim and proper. Like I knew all the forks that you're supposed to use. And at the end of the day, none of that shit mattered. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who gives a shit if I pick up the wrong fork?
Or your elbows on the table.
Nobody cares. You know? I realized that don't nobody care about that but broke folks trying to not look broke.
That part,
You know what I mean?
Yes,
and it's like, like those things just aren't important to me anymore.
Okay.
But they were for so long.
Okay.
And so I think that that's what I would tell myself. Relax, live life, take a chance. Like, you know, the higher the risk, the bigger the reward. And I didn't realize that then.
As Rick Ross was saying, I take honor to this too. The song he says, "Breathe, bitch."
Breathe, bitch. Yes, breathe. You know,
just slow down.
Just slow down.
Slow down. That's what
slow
they
down.
Did.
You don't have to have it all figured out. I thought I had to have life figured out.
Yes.
Only to realize the life I figured out wasn't the life I wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta give yourself space.
Process it. Process.
Yeah.
Are you a good woman?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm a good woman. I think that I'm evolving. Do I think I could be a better woman? Yeah.
What's your greatest strength as a woman?
Ooh. So I think my greatest strength is also my greatest weakness. And I would say passion. I'm very passionate.
Okay.
You know, and you know.
Okay.
You know what they say about passion.
That part.
You know,
if someone wrote a book about you, what would they title it?
Ooh. The Beauty Taming the Beast Within.
The beauty. Oh, damn! Another pound. This is the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. How important is mental health in our community?
Oh gosh, it's so important, and I think that because we always think we have to fit a mold, a lot of people are dying on the inside. You know, they're afraid to vocalize and express what they truly feel. And what I've learned, when you push those things down inside of you and don't let them out and address them, it creates sickness. You know what I mean? The people that I know who are the sickest, I don't feel like they're their authentic selves either. And I think that contributes, because imagine if nobody got to see who the real you were. And you feel like people don't like the real me, but you never showed it to them.
Go ahead.
And so I think it's very important. I think therapy is like one of the greatest gifts that we overlook. And I know in our community, it hasn't always been acceptable. It's like, you know, your church, you talk to your pastor. Your pastor is not a therapist. He might have a connection to God, honey, but he is not a therapist.
And a connection to all the women in the church. That's another story.
That's a whole nother podcast. But we should have it. We should definitely have it.
That part.
But, and you have to talk to people who will be real and honest with you, and that is an outsider for the most part. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like they are able to be, just allow you to be free and express yourselves without the judgment. And so non-judgmental, I guess is the word I was looking for. Okay. And I think that's important.
Okay.
I think we need it. Like, you take your car to get a tune-up. I don't, because I have a Tesla.
We snapped on the foot stump.
We don't have an engine, but so I'm out of that. But yeah,
just
you take
plug
your car
it in,
to get
just plug it in, plug and go.
You take your car to get a tune-up and things like that, and that's perfectly understandable, right? You go to the doctor every year for your physical, and that's perfectly understandable. But we do nothing for here.
Teach.
And this is, my grandmother used to always tell me, a person who works physically is not as tired as a person who uses this all day.
Teach.
And it's the truth. So if you've used this all day and it's tired and worn out, when do you allow this to rest? And the way you do is not sleeping or watching TV. The way you do is talking through your emotions and what you feel on the inside, because that helps you evolve and be a better person and ease this.
Speaking of emotions, how have you learned, or are you still a work in progress, to deal with your emotions?
I'm still a work in progress, but I have learned to breathe.
Okay.
And I've learned that every action doesn't require an immediate response. So that was my thing.
Go ahead.
I always felt like I had to be Johnny on the spot. Like, you said some shit to me, and I got to come right back.
Right.
You know,
like you do at Home Depot. You had to let them have it.
but I've learned to take a pause, to take a knee, think about it. Really try to understand, what the other person is saying, and not based on what they said or how they said it. Because a lot of times people say things out of frustration, and it's not necessarily what they mean. So now you got to clarify for me. I might ask you 10 questions. Okay. And I need to understand, like, what made you say that. Then you might get cussed out at that point. You know what I mean? But I'm going to give you a chance to kind of explain it, because a lot of times I think it's just miscommunication, and it takes people so far.
That part. Especially when our communication understanding is on different levels.
Absolutely.
If I'm driving a Corvette and I'm really, my emotions do here, and I'm over here, and this person over here is driving a semi. Their emotions is a slow build up. Yours fast.
Correct.
Now it's gonna be boom, boom, boom.
Correct.
Okay. So rapid fire. We'll throw some questions out there. Tell me first thing comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready? Mm-hmm. Favorite place to vacation?
Oh, anywhere with the ocean. So the ocean. I need the ocean.
Need the ocean.
I need sun. I need vitamin D. I need a tan.
Okay.
And I need the sea.
Okay. Favorite food to eat?
Pizza. There goes that vegan shit right out the window.
There's vegan pizza.
I found out I couldn't have pizza for. They say that shit.
Oh God, whatever. There's plenty of vegan, but all that bread. You know where the bread goes? Like my grandma would say, baby, just like the bread, like it rises. That's what it does in your stomach. It just rises. But anyway. Okay. Favorite designer?
I don't have a favorite designer. Different pieces speak to me.
Okay.
And so it depends on the piece. I don't give a shit who made it. It's just the piece. There are things that I got from Target that I love just as much as things I've gotten from Gucci.
Okay. That part. Favorite time of the day to make love to your husband?
Night.
Favorite part of your husband's body?
His lips.
His lips, okay. Last one. Who's your favorite child?
I don't have a favorite child. Let me tell you, like I told my kids, because my daughter was feeling some kind of way. Okay. And she said to me, y'all treat Austin differently sometimes. And so we got her to expand upon that. And what she said was, when she was growing up, if it was a no, it was just a no. Like, for example,
Yes.
she mentioned like getting her hair combed at her grandmother's,
Mm-hmm.
and she would be like, "Oh shit, oh, that don't hurt you."
Yes.
And then with my son, she'll stop.
Mm.
And same thing with us.
Yes.
You know, but it was it's like I told her, it's growth. Like we were reared as do as I say.
Yes.
And you have to be tough.
Yes.
And so it wasn't a lot of like love and allowing you to express yourself and that kind of thing. It's like you got to be tough because I got to prepare you for the world, right? And so we learn better. So we do better.
Yes.
And so like I told her the other day, I said, we don't like neither one of y'all at certain points in time.
Okay.
Like there's a day I don't like you, there's a day I don't like him.
Right.
My husband's, favorite motto is like you said, fuck them kids.
Right.
So understand that we don't like y'all equally.
Right.
But we love y'all equally too.
So I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
All right.
In theory, the child that reminds you most of yourself is you're going to gravitate towards more. And it's just, you can't even help yourself.
So for me, both of my children remind me of me in different ways.
Okay.
Because I'm a Libra, I'm not a Gemini, but sometimes I do have different personalities.
You're a woman.
It's the balance,
Okay.
It's the yin and the yang. So it's a scale. So
Okay.
my daughter is the me, especially when I was younger.
Okay.
That didn't take shit and it's like, oh, okay, I'm done with you. Like I could cut you off so quick if you piss me off. My son is the loving, I need a hug, and my daughter's not kissy poo poo at all.
Right.
But I have my moments. So there's
Yes.
certain times when I need the affection, and there's sometimes when I like get the hell away from me.
Okay.
So I see me in both of them at different times. And so depending on what mood I'm in, I may not like their ass at different times
that
too.
part,
So
that
for
part.
me, yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful, the infamous Miss Caneshia Isaac, entrepreneur, biopharmaceutical rep to being real estate agent. If you need her services, how can we reach out? How can we find you?
So you can reach me at teamisacinvestments@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can also reach me on my cell, 470-553-9484.
Right. And no perv calls. This
No
is strictly
perv.
for
You will be blocked.
business.
You will be blocked.
This is strictly for professional reasons. If you need the sister service, and she's event planning,
Yes.
and public speaking, you need to come and speak. Like what I love so much about her, like again, the real you're gonna get. She's gonna come out. If you give her subject matter, she's gonna tell you what the truth of it is, based off her experiences, and it's such a real and beautiful perspective. And I don't want to thank you for coming to add some light to
He just said I
Slam.
ain't no fake bitch. is what he said.
Ain't nothing fake about it. 100%. And Brother Isaac, your wife said she want to do her own damn podcast. Get off your ass and make it happen. I done told you. Hey, Dr. Tiy-E, thank you for tuning in for another episode of S.L.A.M, Sex, Love, and the Misunderstanding. Peace and love.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, time to slam. Sex, love, and misunderstanding. With Dr. Tiy-E, he the man. Relax, let him lead the way. He